Good morning. Today is Wednesday, July 30th. It's days like these that remind us that swimming pools are not just for the weekend. This is Wake Up with KERA News, and I'm Andrew Garcia. As we inch ever closer to August, the temperatures are getting even hotter. We'll have highs reaching 104 today. A heat advisory for the region is still in effect, and it's going to feel a lot like 108, so stay indoors as much as you can. The Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights in Dallas remains closed, even after a judge temporarily stopped the department's shrinkage. We'll check in on where things stand at the OCR. But first, the news. Big Texas boots are on the road again. Heading out of state for the second time in their history, they're going to Washington, D.C. as part of a special Smithsonian exhibition called State Fair's Growing American Craft. The size 96, 12-foot-tall footwear is expected to arrive in the nation's capital on Friday. They'll be unveiled when the exhibition opens in late August. Don't worry, though, Big Tex won't go barefoot this year without those boots. He's got several pairs. A former Frisco pastor has been indicted on 4 counts of possessing child pornography, a first-degree felony. Jim Mustaine served as a community pastor at Preston Trail Community Church between 2019 and 2023. He was also active in several local organizations and volunteered at Louisville ISD. The church and school district both previously told KERA News there was no evidence any LISD students or children connected to Preston Trail were involved in the case. As of yesterday, Mustaine was still in custody in the Denton County Jail, and his first hearing is set for August 6th. The Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights in Dallas remains closed, even after a judge temporarily stopped the department's shrinkage. That leaves many civil rights cases unresolved with no immediate resolution in sight. KERA's Bill Ziebel talked to one of the Dallas OCR lawyers, Brittany Coleman, to see where things stand with her, the cases, and her job since the office was shuttered in March.
I'm joined by attorney Brittany Coleman, a Dallas Office for Civil Rights attorney and also a member of the American Federation of Government Employees. Had you returned to the Office for Civil Rights in Dallas?
Unfortunately, no, Bill, we had not returned. A lot of us had to turn in our equipment back in April, and we lost systems access on March 21st. So we have not been back in the building since then and unable to work.
And how many of you were there?
I would say roughly 60 people within the OCR Dallas office, and then there were additional people who worked there for federal student aid. So we had a good number of people there.
This whole case was briefly on hold because a judge stopped the closure of the Department of Education. Is the case actually over?
No, the case is not over. What happened with the Supreme Court is that they decided to remove the preliminary injunction that was in place that was stopping the reduction in force or layoff. So now that layoff can continue. Unfortunately, while the case is still playing out, they'll go through that whole process of, appealing it, litigating it there, and, just deciding the actual merits of the case.
Have you any idea how many complaints have been filed with the OCR, since Donald Trump became president this term?
We do get thousands upon thousands of cases each year. I can tell you that we've had upticks in cases because of things going on, such as the pandemic that caused an uptick of cases because there were students who were learning virtually and they were not receiving services that they needed for their disabilities. We've had uptakes in cases due to harassment issues, which could be, linked to the current political climate. We've had upticks in harassment cases for, people of Asian descent. We've had upticks in cases for anti-Semitic issues as well. So our caseloads continue to increase, and they're by the thousands. And unfortunately, we went from 12 regional offices in OCR to handle those thousands of cases. Now we're down to 5. And those offices were already understaffed and overworked. So now those remaining 5 offices are having to handle this deluge of cases that keeps coming through, and they don't have the manpower to handle everything timely.
So that office is where, in Kansas City?
That is correct. We did not know that at the time. We actually had to find that out through the grapevine. There was just no information coming out on where that was supposed to go, and the complainants didn't even know where their cases were going.
And so where does that leave the people who've brought cases who contacted your office? That seems awfully frustrating.
It's very frustrating. I mean, and keep in mind, because of the way the office closures were handled and that cases were moved, a lot of the complainants didn't know their cases had moved. When we lost systems access back in March, we were unable to send emails to anybody that did not work at the U.S. Department of Education. So we could receive emails from complainants, but we couldn't respond to them and tell them that, hey, we're no longer working on your matter. Like we just can't do it. And now when people find out where their cases are, it's going to be up to those remaining offices and their remaining staff to try to work those cases into their already heavy dockets.
Well, Brittany Coleman, thank you for the conversation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity, Bill.
That was KERA's Bill Ziebel reporting. The Wings are taking on the Atlanta Dream tonight in Arlington. The Dream have won 15 of their 25 games so far this season. That's compared to the Wings' 8. But let's hope home court advantage is on Dallas's side tonight. Meanwhile, the Rangers play Game 3 against the Los Angeles Angels. They lost last night's game 8-5. Head to the Irving Arts Center and take in photographer Joe Wallace's Portraits of Dementia exhibition. Wallace flips the narrative of dementia on its head. Instead, he offers viewers portraits of lives well lived featuring people living with the disease. It's on view through August 16th. Learn more and find some other things to do as well on our Go See DFW calendar at kera.org/calendar. Thanks for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. The show's produced and edited by Shardae White and Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter. You'll get a more in-depth look into the news with plenty of good morning vibes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.